Yeah, themes of 20, themes of the year, and like I think one of my themes, and not that my theme is unique in any sort of way. I think a lot of people's themes would be like just the kind of the rise of the year of the underdog is I think how I'm coining it, but just that these, not to say Silk Song by any stretch and Team Cherry is an underdog, but these smaller games that are just kind of breaking through pretty consistently, is like one of the themes. And I think you see that in the Game Awards, right? I think the one two, to go back to our offline conversation, like yeah, it's Claire Obscure's year, but it's also then if it's not them, it's Silk Song. That's what I think. So neither one of those winners I'd be shocked by, but if this Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I'd fall on my chair. But yeah, yeah. Not that any not any sort of thing against Deep Silver, all that, but more just I would have been like, huh, wow. That would have been a shocking pick. That would be a shocking pick. So I don't see it happening, but that would be the shocking pick to me. That or I mean, everything else I can rationalize. Hades 2 and Kingdom Come would be the ones I would be like shocked by.
I feel like there's other games that just got cheated. I mean, Silk Song, I feel like was going to be on there no matter what happened. Same with Hades, probably. But you have games that came out. Split Fiction came out this year. With Helldivers, technically, they were not this
No,
year. They
last
were
year,
last
last
year, right?
year.
Ghosts of Yoti, I don't know much about. I think
No.
Split Fiction, I'm just looking at the list. Split Fiction really jumps out a lot to me. I really want to understand a little bit about Dispatch. I saw your post
That's
about
the
Dispatch.
that's the one that caught me off guard. So Dispatch, and I saw or I watched her video. So Alana Pierce, who does the voice of the name escapes me, but she's the devil person in the game, right? Also former game journalist, also generally internet personality, and she kind of went into because she's voted in the Game Awards before, so she had this really interesting like vlog where she talked about why she understands why Dispatch was nominated, and it's just how the timing of the game's release and how they phrase voting to the voters of the Game Awards and all that sort of stuff. And the game wasn't technically fully out yet, like because they were doing episodic drops, no one could actually complete it. And a lot of the questions are more or less phrased like, "How did you feel about completing the game?" It's like, "Well, I haven't completed the game yet." So, Dispatch is in no man's land. But to me, if I were to go fast forward 3 years, and I would think back to what I actually remember about this year, and I'm sorry, Hades 2 fans out there, because I personally thought this game came out years ago, not because and they've kind of done concert drips throughout. To me, that would have been like it's silly that Dispatch isn't in this group. That just like my mind breaks. It's a fantastic narrative game. Really well written, really well animated. Yeah, I know it's a Telltale side, but like, again, an underdog game, right? Like this year, it's like you're the underdog, and Dispatch is no different than that. It's like the game came out of kind of nowhere. They were at the Game Awards last year, but kind of came out of nowhere, and it's a really good game. I'll remember that game in the future, and I'm interested in that world, and its comedic tone and all that sort of stuff, and
What
pushing the
type of
boundaries.
game is it?
It's a narrative, right? So it's like, you're kind of watching an episode of TV, but occasionally you get the optionality to pick your dialogue tree, right? Some have consequences, others are just for the lulls. And then there's this like mini game that does have bearing to like a leveling up system, that does have bearing to consequences, which is like you're dispatching. So you have the main character, not spoiling anything about the game, is a former superhero that lost his ability to be a superhero, who's now a dispatcher, and he dispatches a team of supervillains that are reforming to go save the day at various places. So the mini game is literally like you're dispatching, and you're sending one, and you, based on their kind of skill, the supervillain, the former supervillains, you're like, oh, you go here because you're smart and it requires a smart person, or you go here because you're strong and it requires a strong person. It's kind of those mechanics, right? And you
Hmm.
compare them together. So there's like a little game in there, but again, it's really just about the story of the game, and you're just kind of doing like gaming things. But narrative games are not nothing. Until Dawn comes to mind, as another big narrative title. Similarly, it's just like you have choices and you watch people die. So that's Until Dawn. Obviously, Life is Strange in that series is a narrative-driven game. Similarly, choices, etc., etc. So it is like a genre game that has an audience, and I would say personified by, at least to me, from the Telltale area when they used to make the Walking Dead games, right? When they used to make
Mm-hmm.
Walking Dead, very much an iPad game, if my memory serves me correctly, because that's where I remember playing them. But like, yeah, very popular, and it's like that parts of that former organization went off to make Dispatch, and it's like a long journey that took like 6 plus years. Yada yada yada. And I think it's an outstanding achievement with memorable characters. And you know what? That's probably one of my themes of this year, and I actually should put that in there. It's a year that people want to kind of hand wring like, oh, the games are winning are smaller, or the games that are winning are not these triple A's, but honestly, like, to me, the games that like win through the year, the ones with memorable stories. I mean, go figure. Gamers want to play a good game with a story behind it and characters that actually have meaning and consequence. Like I look at Claire Obscure, what's that game so good? Because it's got a good story, memorable characters, take swings. Like it's not playing it safe. It's first act, you literally meet people and they all die. Sorry if you haven't played Claire Obscure yet, at least the first hour of that game. Spoiler alert, you're basically playing Saving Private Ryan. You start off in a city, you're with a girl, she dies. You're like, oh, well,
Spoilers
that's,
everywhere. Oh my god.
yeah, spoiler there. That happens in the first 20 minutes. And then you go on a boat and you're going to a beach. And then it's Saving Private Ryan, you where everyone just around you gets, taken out. And then you start again. And you're like, wow, this game went for it. That's probably the thing about that game that'll stick with me is it went for it in the first act. Most games don't. It went for it. And I was like, oh, I like the narrative cojones on them. Good for them and the writing on this game. But that's again back to my thing. I think story is a big thing this year. People like good stories.
I appreciate that. And I agree with you. I think we're getting back to this world of I'm not back to this world, but single players like playing big again, right? For a little while there, everything was multiplayer, but now we're getting story-driven narratives. We're getting indies creating great stories. We're getting triple A's creating great stories, right? And it's not just chasing the live ops dollars; it's chasing how do we create a gaming experience, not just the cash grab.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, excited to be back. Greg, and how have you been since we last spoke, man? And
Good.
hung
I
out.
apologize. I feel like I haven't been paying attention, but I noticed our LinkedIn wasn't working. So I was working on getting LinkedIn working, and now it is working. Trying to learn all this technology crap is just way too much, especially at the end of the year, at like the holidays. Great holidays. Thanksgiving is easily my favorite holiday of the year. I think it's great food, great people typically. This year was fine. Great football this year if you're a football fan. Um, and I feel like now we have this month till the end of the year, and it's basically dead. We have the Game Awards that we're talking about. But I'm pumped to be back, Colin. How are you?
I'm good. I'm, us over at Screen Engine Mind Game. We're very busy toward the end of the year as, trying to get things out and try to write our end of the year retrospectives and, getting gearing up for an insane week next week at the Game Awards. I'll be there because I live in LA, so it's easy jaunt for me to go out to the JW Marriott. I honestly, this year will be the first year I don't attend in person, like in the actual building of the Game Awards this year. I'm going to try what everyone recommends. It's just hang out in LA Live. And if this is the beginning of the GDC vacation of the Game Awards, that's really interesting. It's like no one goes inside. You're like, we just hang out the surrounding
Mhm.
hotels. Like, oh, that's a good idea. I'll give that a go. So that's what I'll be. That's what I'm up to now between now and the end of the year. And then obviously I'd say a bunch of great things about what I think games are coming out next year and who's going to win the first half of next year. But I don't really think we know until the Game Awards happen. So we see all the trailers with their release dates attached to them. Then I'll have a much clearer picture. So I've seen a lot of people, and I get it, putting out there what to look forward to in 2026. I find it to be premature. The Game Awards has to happen. You have to see what's actually coming out, and you're like, I get it, and now I'll understand what the calendar looks like. Because otherwise, I'll just tell you Resident Evil. Well, Resident Evil is going to win.
I've heard some mixed things. There's some rumors that came out leaked from 4chan this morning about the latest one, and people seemed kind of bored of what it's going to be. So, first of all, I don't think you can predict what Capcom's going to do, but
Oh, I can predict how it's going to do. It's going to
not
make a
how,
bunch,
what
bunch
it's
of
going to
money.
do. Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna do outstanding numbers. It's the biggest game in the first half of next year. I don't even see another game kind of taking that crown unless GTA decides to release early and goes backwards, which is not happening. So the first half of next year it'll be a lot like Monster Hunter Wilds is, in my opinion. Like this game that was not on the nominee list. I mean, the most probably between Battlefield 6 or Monster Hunter Wilds is gonna be the 1-2 game of best selling games this year. So between those two, when all is said and done, the advantage that Wilds has is it had the whole year to sell. So it's got the entire calendar year of selling. But it was the highest game in peak mindshare in our tool. Also came out against nothing else. And I think it's kind of where also a Capcom game, and I think the same play is going to happen again. I think Resident Evil is going to have a huge spike beyond probably beyond what they've had before. Will remains to be seen. There's a lot of marketing to be done between now and February. And a lot of people play it, and it'll be a massive game. It'll sell really well, and we'll see if we remember it in December because we seem to forget games that come out in the first half of their year, typically, outside of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Shout out to their nomination, congrats. But Monster Hunter Wilds gets the commercial trophy, I guess. I get to sell a lot of copies and jump in a Scrooge McDuck bin of money, so they win that award, right?
I feel like they got that community crutch though, man. Like, I feel like that's
You mean
unfair
like
steroids.
you mean the Monster Hunter community? I mean that's gaming in a nutshell. Everything is community now. Like, you know,
Let the Claire obscure.
they built a community. I
They
think
did,
people
but I mean, right? Monster Hunt, you're teaming up with your buddies, right? And you're going. I've never played Monster Hunter. I played the demo, right? I don't know what you go on hunts.
yeah,
Right? Claire
it's a
obscure, you're
it's a
going
dull
solo.
Pokemon. Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. To me like the pocket monster genre, which is pretty much Pokemon and Monster Hunters, right? It's like, yeah, one's more edgier and adult and edgy more on the monsters not being cute, obviously, and the other one is trying to sell you plush toys on the side, which, I think both are viable businesses clearly. So they both have their own lane. They both stay in it. They both make a lot of money. So congrats to both of them for doing what they do.
Tell me about your mindset when you're going to something like the Game Awards, right? You planning meetings beforehand? You winging it at the door?
Yeah,
What's your mindset?
um, because I live here and I'm kind of burned out of all industry stuff by this time of year. I go very much casual more than I would GDC. GDC, I've planned my meetings months in advance. Typically I'm basically back to back for 4 days. I plan my travel accordingly. And the Game Awards, I'm like, yeah, I know. I guess I'll go to the Games Beat thing in the morning because, meh, why not? So I'm just gonna go to Games Beat. And am I have any agenda there? No, not really. I'm just gonna show up. I got invited to speak or be a part of a panel at Seg 3, which I was like, do you want to do this? And I was tagged on LinkedIn as a speaker. I had no idea. I was like, that's how I found out. I was like, "Wait,
Perfect.
am I speaking?" I was like, I reached out to him like, Are we doing this?" Like, "Oh yeah, I thought we told you." I was like, I had no idea until you flagged me on LinkedIn.
Live and
But
learn.
then can you come? And I was like, yeah. I mean, I live in LA, so it's not a big deal for me to go to Hollywood. Sure. So things just kind of naturally fall place. So you can see I just take it a little bit more of a casual thing. And I like to go a bit of as a fan to the Game Awards because I want to watch the trailers. It's something that like the movie industry should do. Like my wife loves the Oscars. I'm kind of as a former film student, I'm very indifferent to it now. And to me, part of the miss is like I want to know what's coming out in the next year. And this is obviously a platform to tell me what's coming out and they just don't do it right. But the Game Awards, Akili, that's what he figured out. He's like, people want to know what's coming and I will show them what's coming. And via people give me kind of early access to things or they pay to be there. And I guess it doesn't really matter. And it's turned into a commercial that then also hands out awards, which I know people get kind of upset. I think that's the big dialogue is like, it's not really an award show, it's a giant commercial. And I'm like, yeah, but can be both. I think the people care when they win Game of the Year. So it's like, I think you're belittling those who actually get the award. They do care, right? They get, there's only a few places where they get that kind of recognition, and you could argue which one's more pristine or whatever. But I think getting an award is always a nice thing, so especially for the people that put in the hard work for it. So, anywho, that's how I approach Game Awards casual, man. Just kind of like I'll show up, and as a fan, I want to see what's coming out and get hyped up. Like I'll say like last year I was there in the actual theater. And I was super happy. I actually jumped up and was like, "Yeah!" when Astrobot took the trophy because that was my personal game of the year. Because I played with it my at the time 5-year-old son, and he adored Astrobot, and I adored Astrobot. I thought this is a great platformer, and to me that was like a little underdog from Sony Interactive, but little underdog that like took it out, and I was like, "Oh, that's so nice! Like that was a great game." Good for Sony, good for and good for that brand and good for that IP and awesome stuff. So I don't know if I feel that passionate about anything this year. Like I like Claire Obscure a lot, but it doesn't have that surprise underdog feel to it. It feels like it's an inevitability. It's like it's going to get its 10 trophies. So
I think Claire Obscure's got that whole indie vibe going for it, more so than Astrobot. Obviously, Astrobot's Sony, right? And I think that's what's great for the industry right now. And I think 2026 is going to be awesome for the industry as well, right? We're going to get some new cool games. I was reading today, I don't know if you saw, Sony actually signed a deal with Bad Robot to
I s-
produce some games. And I was like, oh, this is the same thing as kind of what Blum, is it Blumhouse? That's how you pronounce it. Blumhouse has been doing, making some horror games recently, and I see a lot of transmedia now coming from movie sides into the gaming side. And I thought, hey, that's a really interesting move, right? We're kind of seeing kind of the full kind of. A lot of times you see games going to movies, but not often. I guess you always see movies going to games, but not movie studios like this coming into a game. And I think this is an interesting move and smart play by Sony to be able to partner up that way.
No, it's so interesting. I have a few comments there. First off, the transmedia bit. I'll go on a tangent, but first I have a shout out. So like, and I know my apologies, but we do a lot of IP tracking for the film industry at my org, right? And I don't want to name them, but I would say not a guaranteed hit in horror got I think they're getting optioned now in part because we told the company optioning them to go after them. Like this is a no-brainer. This is a hit before it's even out yet. You should go get the rights to this and turn it into something else, or at least begin the process. So that's the kind of stuff we do. So it's super cool to see like some of that stuff being announced. But yeah, I get asked questions all the time, like what would make a good movie that no one knows about? I'm like, well, there's only 300,000 things I look at, so I can what are you looking for exactly, right? Are you looking for something that's popular overseas but not America or Europe? Are you looking for something that's more kid friendly? Like shout out to Kerbal Space Program. The fact that has not been optioned off and turned into a kid's IP yet is just boggles my mind. It's like this is no brainer. This is Kerbals. Like they're cute. They make ships. Like it's got a great kind of bare bones like kind of premise, and then you could take it into a lot of different directions. So I don't know. I
Watch
think
out,
you're going to see.
minions.
It's kind of like it's kind of minions, but they make rocket ships instead.
Right.
So and that's not a bad. But like I think you're going to see a lot of the entertainment folks kind of fall into that. But like going to my I think my larger thing, which is one of my uh, do I say it? It's one of my larger themes this year. And in fact, I want your take on this, Greg, because I don't know if we'll get times.
Uh
It's
oh.
it's going to be it's going to be in my short list of winners of the year, and that's Nintendo. And they are just dunking on the industry and just like lapping up. So Kirby Air Riders is it at least in its demand share curve leading into its launch, outperformed the best-selling Kirby title to date, which is Kirby in the Forgotten Land. If Nintendo can increase the audience of Kirby, it just to me is like I know sorry Kirby fans out there, not trying to disparage Kirby, but this is the quintessential B-list entity in Nintendo's catalog to me. It's never been a major mainstay in mass culture, especially in the West. It just exists. You see him. Most people probably know Kirby from Smash as a character you could play that eats people, right? Like I know Kirby from Smash, but I don't actually play Kirby games, and yet it keeps growing now. And you're just like, well, Nintendo does everything, including like make movies and like the Nintendo Mario Galaxy trailer. I will remove myself bias. I like Mario generally, so I'll just say my kids. My son loves Bowser Jr. Was just like floored when he saw the Bowser Jr. reveal at the end of the trailer. Is super excited about Bowser Jr. being kind of the villain of the game because he loves Bowser Jr. And he has like a little plushie. He grabbed Bowser Jr. He's like, I got this guy, and I'm like, yeah. So good job, Nintendo. You sold a ticket.
I am dumbfounded, and I'm excited to post this clip because I feel like I'm gonna make a TikTok clip out of this. And just calling Kirby B list, and you know what? I've played like 3 Kirby games in my life, so it's a hard argument to make for me. But like, I remember Kirby had an N64 game coming out, and it was huge, and people loved it. And like, would you say he's more B list than Donkey Kong?
I would say he's currently more B-list than Donkey Kong, but they Donkey Kong 2 was a B-list character who had critically adored, beloved platformers, and Donkey Kong 64 for millennials as a seminal game, as is Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, right? And Diddy Kong Racing, which if Nintendo's going to go back and make old-timey racer games, maybe don't shoehorn it in the middle of Bonanza in a weird level that makes no sense to the entire game. Like, sorry, my rant on Bonanza is like the game is good, it misses great to me because it's too much stuff. I don't really say that about games, but for Donkey Kong, it's just too much content. One level in particular, you discover Diddy and Dixie Kong, and of course they're on a racing place, and you're like, you got to race your car, and you're like, this could have been the game, guys. Like, we didn't need to shoehorn this into Donkey Kong. You could have just made Diddy Kong Racing 2 or whatever it would be called
Coming
now. But
soon, 2026.
I digress. To that end, right? Back to Donkey Kong. I think he until recently he was a B-list character, but you know what Nintendo did? They put him in the Mario movie as the second antagonist, raised his profile with Seth Rogen. Movie makes $1.24 billion. I know rakes in a ton of money. They put him in the theme park at Universal Studios. He's got a minecart madness ride at Universal Epic in Florida, and I think in other parts too. I'm sure they're going to put it in California whenever they bulldoze the size of the hill more and fit a minecart roller coaster there. And then he has a game that makes more money than any Donkey Kong game has ever made. So I think Nintendo is purposefully trying to elevate the B tier characters, which to be clear, there's a lot more B tier than A tier. The A tier characters of Nintendo are very obvious. It's their quasi relationship, quiet part ownership of Pokemon, so Pikachu and the cadre characters with the Pokemon franchise, right? It's Mario, obviously, and it's Zelda. That's the A list. That's the
Mm,
premium Nintendo IP, and then and Animal Crossing, right? Yes, and Animal Crossing because of New Horizon. That is to a certain audience a tier game, right?
there's a Pikmin somewhere giving you the finger saying, and we're here
Fair
to.
enough, fair enough. But not everyone could be the A tier, and then Prestige like Zelda, and now you go into the B tier. But I think Nintendo wants to raise the profile of all these characters into the A tier, and I think that's what you're seeing. And I don't know anything, but I fully expect to see a Kirby movie announcement at some point. Like, it just expect it. It's gonna probably be animated because I don't know how else you do it, and maybe it's tied to the Mario universe. But I just feel like a Kirby movie's on its way at some point.
I don't know. I've been watching kind of box office records recently, right? Because Zootopia 2 broke into the top five movie openings ever, right? Like somehow, I don't know where it came from. Against Wicked 2, Zootopia becomes one of the top five biggest movie openings ever,
Hmm.
um, which is great. Good, like it's a cool IP. I love it. But when you look at the numbers, like it's 800 million, 800 million. Then number one is Endgame, which is like 1.6 billion dollars, and you're just like, holy cow, something happened. Well, obviously everyone knows what happened, but like Endgame just raked in so like double the second place amount of movie that has been brought in. And now you have me thinking, what can ever top Endgame? And it seems like it's the clashing of all the Mario IPs. When Smash Brothers, the movie, eventually gets announced, then you have everyone coming together. It's basically the Endgame of Mario, and that's how you break the box office.
No, they're gonna fight the giant hand. That's the question because
Oh,
that'd be a really weird antagonist.
that
Right?
makes sense.
Yeah, well, as someone, shout out to, I saw Zootopia. Why did that movie make as much money as it did? My, father of kids under 7, because there's been a movie desert for kids, man. Like, there's been nothing to take them to. And this movie comes out of the sky, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a movie they actually like. They like Zootopia. They take them to it. They like it, but it was like a no-brainer. I was like, of course I'm gonna go see this movie because there's been nothing out in theaters for my kids since How to Train Your Dragon live action remake, which came out in June, I believe.
Yeah, a while ago.
So we've just been desperate for something to take the kids to, right? So that's, to me, that's the apparent reason of why that movie made a lot of money. And then, plot wise, it's great. It's simple. It's a fox and a rabbit solving crimes. That's it. Not much more. Like, and you can, kids like it. Easy to understand. Not trying to do much more than that. Not trying to be too smart for its own good. Just a fox and rabbit solving crimes, with some light commentary on imperialism, as I would say, right? So that, but yeah, I think the Mario kind of culmination of everything would probably be a big deal. Especially if you see that, like, even though Zelda's live action, that's a question I have, is like, if the Zelda's a live action prestige movie from Sony, which it looks like it's going to be at least a teen prestige movie. The vibe I got was Lord of the Rings with Zelda. It's like Lord of the Triforce, I think is my going
Those
joke.
four
Lord of the Tri
pictures told you a story, huh?
Yeah, Lord of the Triforce. Like, oh, I recognize the Shire, but not the Shire, right? And cool, right? And that's great, but I don't know how you pull them into animated form because you're gonna have to, and that would be, or some version of them in animated form. But who knows, right? But beyond just the Zelda of it all, you look around the rest of them, I suspect a lot of them are going to be animated movies, and it'll all kind of more or less tie together, and they'll have like a kind of end game sort of thing where the villains all team up. You can already see who the villains will be, and the heroes will all team up. You can see what the heroes would be, and that'll be the smash movie, right? Um, Anyways, make a lot of money for sure.
I could
But
see it,
that's
man.
but gaming has generations of beloved fans. It's baked in. I think what people miss is like, oh, gaming's big. I'm like, gaming's been big for multiple generations, and they've not seen game IP exist out of games in a serious manner until really, in my opinion, Castlevania did it on Netflix, and that had you know a nostalgia fan base, but I would say people are actively like waiting for the next Castlevania game on the game side. That game IP had kind of gone into the dustbin of history, known for its historical importance because it's half the name is part of a genre of games, so it'll always be important. But like in terms of people like saying, "Oh yeah, I cannot play to I can't wait to be a Belmont again," like I don't think those people existed, but the show is great. It showed that you can actually take this IP and turn it into meaningful stories. And then Arcane and Mario, and you say what you will about Minecraft. My kids liked it because it's stupid fun, and sometimes that's all they need in a movie is stupid fun with physical humor. And Jack Black is good at that stuff. Cool. Not my cup of tea, but I get it. And yeah, or even like for some more adult fare, Five Nights at Freddy's, right? Giving people what they want. They're almost shocked that movie made as much money as it did. I'm like, YouTube was built on this franchise. Like Matty Pat or Matt Pat, like literally made, I feel like hundreds of lore videos about for Five Nights. And so of course the YouTube generation was going to go watch Five Nights in theaters because it had been built a huge community online forever, right? And this is the first time it's existed outside of games and outside of YouTube, but in a different form factor, which I think a lot of people appreciate and liked. So that's my high thinking on transmedia. And finally we can stop getting movies about Indiana Jones. Like, can we never see an
No.
Indiana Jones movie again? Just let it be. Let franchises die. It's okay. There's plenty of other franchises out there to be born and to turn it into other content. Like, we don't need it. And it pains me to say this. I was talking to someone about yesterday, but I feel the same way about Star Wars. I'm good. I'm good. If they, I'm gonna get so much anger about this, Greg, and I'm sorry, you probably will too. If they want to remake A New Hope with new people and just remaster New Hope, like Capcom remastered Resident Evil with new actors, new technology, telling the exact same story, I'm okay with that. I sign off on it. I'm good. Yes, if you want to take a 1977 film, update it, not in the George Lucas, I'm going to take some frames and add some spaceships in it, but like legit just say, you know what? We know the story, we know the scenes. We're just going to remake it with new people and just redo the movie, bookend, the same script, the same everything. Like we get Disney live action updates now. Yes, sign me up. I'm there for it. I will watch the original trilogy as
Don't
is.
say that, man. This is like you said
And
you're done with
I'm
Star Wars,
wearing
and now
a
you're asking
Star
for
Wars shirt.
more of the shit from it. Like, if you want it to be done, be done. So if you love it,
I
let it go. I've heard that story before, and
I I want my kids to care, and they're not going to sit down and watch a 1977 movie because it's too dated for them. And I sympathize with that. Much like my parents want to sit me down and have me watch Snow White as a kid, and I wanted to just
your
carve
kid's
my
not
eyes
gonna
out.
care anyway, man. It's a different time, different era. Shit's changed. You don't have to sit and
Maybe.
watch a 2-hour movie anymore. You can watch a 30-second TikTok and get the whole thing summed up to you in a minute.
Yeah, but then movies come out, they become events, and I think people like events and monocultural moments, and that would be a monocultural moment. So agree to disagree, but I am ready for it at this point because the Mandalorian movie looks like trash. So I'm just like reset the whole thing because what the Star Wars community and they want to hear this, what they really want is they want to see stories of Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Leia doing things in between the sequel trilogy that we all basically hate and the original trilogy, which is a lot of time there, and there's no way you could do that for a variety of reasons. But let's just say Mark Hamill's too old and has no interest. So you're gonna have to do something to give the community what they want at some point. And I'd rather that they just recast them, redo the movies, and then just move forward than see AI do kind of weird generated things on top of other actors' bodies, and then it's just basically a CGI film at that point. I don't want that. Just give me a new actor playing Luke Skywalker. I'm okay with that.
That's the most crazy thing I've ever heard, man. Just come up with a new Star Wars story, call it a day, and move on. And don't Well, either way, let's move on. I
That's
think we
not
need to
gaming. Sorry,
we
sorry to
need
your
to
audience.
implement a movie section of this because I have a few people that have talked to me about movies, and I am not anywhere near as good with movies. I have people telling me quotes all day long when we're playing Xbox. I'm like, I have no idea what it's from. Luckily, they're with each other and they can bounce off each other. But this whole transmedia thing does really is becoming something, right? And it has been something. It's becoming more and more and more, and it's fun to play it out. But back on track. You talked about Minecraft, and this is a good time to move over to our other forever game of Roblox. And from an industry perspective, I had my podcast with Game Fam and Nuzu the other weekend. I never played Roblox up until last week. I kind of read about it, know about it, right? And I was like, you know what? I've seen people play it. I need to give it a shot. And I gave it a shot. And when I tried to play a game, it said, hey, in order to do this, you need to send us a picture of yourself. And I thought to
Hmm.
myself, well, whatever. It's fine. I've done this before. I know the all ins and outs. And then I did it. And then a few days later, I saw an uproar online, people saying Roblox's new age verification tools, AI generated. And I'm curious on a couple things. First one is, are you familiar with what's going on and kind of the age gating of this type of stuff within Roblox?
I mean, I am because as a parent, and I'm sorry to those who are employed or work in the Roblox ecosystem, because what I'm going to say is going to probably make you mad. I'm just here to like make people mad. I'm like realizing as I'm coming to my thoughts, I won't let my kids play Roblox, and I for the reasons of we'll say the reasons why the AGs across the United States are pointing their legal lawsuits at Roblox for a variety of COPA uncompliance reasons and them kind of willingly knowing that they're not being compliant. I am very much lockstep in that thinking. I think they have a larger problem in their ecosystem, and I won't let my kids play that stuff until they clean it up. That is my straight POV on that one. So I'm aware, and I'm also a blocker of my kids joining Roblox. And I say, but here's Minecraft. Minecraft is perfectly acceptable to me, but you're not playing Roblox, or not engaging in Roblox as a platform until they kind of solve some of these challenges, right? So they're gonna have to do something, man. They can't keep.
Well, let me ask you a
They can
question, right?
like. I mean, and they could lie to themselves and say kids don't play their platform, and most of it's adults, which I find one silly. Two, you're pointing out the problem I'm understanding correctly, right? Which is like why is there not a separation of my kids and these adults? Would be my next question. Why are adults quote unquote going to the platform? So although I don't think it's adults in the platform, I think it's mostly kids. So that being said,
Roblox has this stink, right? And maybe it still stinks of child labor, child trafficking, child everything child related, right? And my question to you is, this was like really discovered a few years ago, right? Let's call it 5 years ago, right? They kind of broke down. There was videos about what's going on in Roblox. Do you not think it's been addressed at all?
no, not really. No, I think they've put. I mean, I think they. I mean, to be fair to them, I'm sure they're trying to address it, but to my opinion and understanding of the platform, they have not adequately addressed it. The same way that when Fortnite was experiencing similar challenges, let's say in the late 2010s. They went and quickly bought Super Awesome and bought it for this technology undergirding it, which was like kind of a technology that kind of helped like flag content and kid safety, et cetera, et cetera, because that was kind of what Super Awesome was built on. They since spun off Super Awesome, but kept that technology. Like Epic went and solved the problem explicitly through acquisition. They just went and bought the thing, implemented it, and now it's not having the same strain of challenges as say something like Roblox. And so and so like but unpacking that, I think I have some of the issues that people have with issue with Roblox, like it's child labor. I go, well, what do you think YouTube video making is then? Because it's the same thing. People have the tools to be creative. Those things, if they are successful, could be monetized. So to me, it parse and part, like it gets icky, sure, but it's also just the nature of the internet, right? And creativity in the modern era. And it a lot of content comes from those who are under 18. And are they being properly compensated for it? Like probably not, or who knows. But it's also just kind of is where we're at, right? So I wouldn't put my head in the sand and say, oh, it's just their problem. I think it's an internet content creating problem, broadly speaking, especially when all the young people want to be internet content creators or Roblox makers or whatever, right? And they have the tools in front of them to do it. So they're going to do it, right? it's completely accessible.
And it puts studios in a tough spot. Let's group them under studios right now, right? Because if you're Roblox and you're hearing the sentiment that you're sharing, which is common amongst people right now, and especially because there's a lot of people that are uneducated on the topic, right? They just hear about Roblox. So you're educated. You know how the gaming system works to a degree on what they're doing. So Roblox comes with a solution, right? We'll call it a solution where we're going to make you scan your ID
Yes.
or your
Yeah.
face,
So
right?
yeah.
And this is not something new. This is a technology that happens overseas. It happens in
Well,
certain states here as well,
and
right?
it's only overseas right now, is my understanding. Roblox has not brought that to the states, or they're not
Oh,
beta
it has.
testing anything.
I
Oh,
did it.
they did. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
right. So in order for anyone who's 18 or over to talk, you need to anyone, I guess, you have to be able to scan your
Facebook.
face and get that verification. I think if you don't scan it, I don't know how it breaks down. I'm gonna speak it, but they did it in a way where kids can't talk to adults unless certain checks are checked,
Yeah.
and they still get hate, right? And I get it because people don't trust the systems that are scanning their face. But then you're a studio, you're a 2 3 man shop that's building this game, and you have to abide by the laws. And the idea is, do you manually look at everyone and try and determine if they're over this specific age, or do you build a process that can automatically do it? And I feel like it's a lose lose situation right now for people. And with Minecraft or with Roblox trying to solve it, they're getting hate, and they're going to get the hate because they're the biggest one in the world doing it. But like, I
Mhm.
feel like it puts them in an unfair spot, and people still have this sentiment about them.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm pro that stuff, and like I know people are gonna mad at me for that. So I come from a digital, so been in gaming, but also worked a lot in advertising and digital media. So because I was so close to sausage making back in the 2010s, I would just say privacy is broadly a myth that we tell ourselves exists. It doesn't really exist, and I know I'm gonna hate for that, but it's just kind of true. There's so much data on you out there. It's not a singular company. It's not just Facebook taking data from you. It's not TikTok taking data from you. There's like hundreds and thousands of data brokers out there that basically get your data that is sold to them by American Express, it's sold to them by Visa, it's sold to them by the government. Like all this data is basically being passed around by different arbiters and then resold and repackaged. So you can find out people like ask yourself, why do I get all these random calls trying to sell me? Like if you work in a profession like myself, like B2B calls from random software people. How'd they get my phone number? Well, they acquired that from a data broker somewhere and they understood that you are working in the field you're working in, and thus they reach out to you directly on your cell phone because that data is out there. And it's icky and it sucks, but it's just kind of the modern era that we live in. And I think the same thing about facial recognition. Like, especially if I'm in Europe and London, I just assume my entire body's been scanned infinite times as I walk from pub to pub, street to street, tube to tube, right? I just assume I'm just been digitally modeled somewhere multiple times. And the problem that most people have with that is they think that I'm so important that they have me as a person saved in a database filed as myself, Colin. No, nobody's that interesting. They basically model on behaviors of age, location, income to understand how broad geographic like people operate like on a more broad macro scale. They don't really care about the micro unless they have to care about the micro. They really just understand the macro. So yeah, they are scanning my body, but they don't really care about me as an individual as they care about me as a pattern, right? If that's the best way to look at it. Like I'm a pattern. And if I diverge from a pattern, that's when you get noticed. But if you don't diverge from a pattern, they don't really care. They're not really going to do anything with that data or save it for long anyways. It just kind of goes in and out, right? So
You're a very
back to that.
optimistic person.
It's just how it is. Just based on my again my own personal experience and the stuff. So I go to the Roblox stuff. I'm like, yeah, that is what it is. I also give clear money to bypass the airport so they can have facial, eye, and fingerprinted scans. So when I go to the airport, I'm not waiting in the
You're a celebrity.
hour plus long line. I walk through my clear thing, get my face scanned, get my eyes scanned, and I jump the line through TSA pre-check, which I did the same thing for them too, and walk through global entry, and I'm into the airport in like 5 minutes or less. Because
Life is great, right?
so I, I can see where I kind of gave up on this stuff a while ago. I'm like, it doesn't matter, right? Um, doesn't matter, and it's only going to get less consequential as like AI is able to do a lot more than what a human analyst could do. It's just going to get more and more. So I would expect that kind of stuff to kind of trickle it into other aspects of the world. And as a parent, be honest, I'd rather that. I'd rather have that technology kind of at least in my mind, peace of mind wise, putting a virtual fence between that people I don't want my kids around and people that want to be around my kids. So I'll just put it like that, right? So I'm okay with that virtual fence thing. Good for
I
me,
agree.
right?
You know, you're reducing your privacy, which is an issue. To your point, one thing I always, I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but my wife is a lawyer, or she's not a lawyer. She did a forensic accounting type of thing and had to learn about that stuff. And she said it's not about the idea of they're just listening to you to understand the pattern. It's the fact that they now have data on you, and if they want to use it against you, they can use it against you, and it's your way to then have to say, "Hey, this wasn't me or not." Right? Once they have information about you, they can do whatever they want with it. Right? And yes, most people are probably not going to do anything. Right? But then this is a terrible example. Right? You have this Luigi Mangione guy. Right? And then all of a
Oh
sudden,
no.
like they can place you anywhere. They can put you anywhere, right? Data can tell a story, and I'm not saying he's not guilty, right? But like it's scary to think of what people can do with this data if they want to put something against you, right? Like they
Hmm.
can attack you if they have access to this data. And you have these companies like Palantir, right? That
Volunteer, yeah.
yeah, right. Like it's like scary that some people have access to the data and can do anything they want with it. And yeah, you know what? I'm good. I know me. I haven't done anything bad. But like what if they want to make it look like you can? And now I'm going down this whole rabbit hole we probably shouldn't. Um,
Pull out, pull out.
so let's flip this
Roblox,
conversation and talk
Roblox
about
has. Oh, go ahead, jump in.
horses,
Oh,
right?
Jesus.
Because horses is taking a different approach to this. So I have a bunch of. You want to go first?
Yeah, I legit. You sent me this, and I was like, oh, what is horses? And so I look at it, and I'm like, what in the hell, man? And then I deep dive it further. I talked to the team internally, and I was like, okay, so um, I'll let you explain what horses is. I'll let you handle that. Because you want.
It has more questions for me now that I want to pick your brain on, right? Because horses is this game I have no idea what it was until yesterday, and I logged on. I looked at IGN. IGN reviewed. I saw some other thing, Reddit threads, I think, as well as people talking about horses. Right? I was like, what the hell is this? And then IGN review starts off talking about how scary of a game it is. It's banned from. It was banned from Steam at the time. Steam claimed, or it was claimed that Steam banned it because it didn't follow specific asset sprites or whatever. I don't know. It didn't, but then they never got back to them. And then Epic pulled the game as well. So the only place they said you could play it is Itch. It's just basically this narrative game as well. You can run around, you can do stuff. You're this farm where there's humans wearing horse heads, and this farmer treats everyone like garbage. And there's nudity. It's gross. It's stupid looking. And you know, it got me thinking, and I thought the same thing a while ago about Claire Obscure and Blueprints when it came out, and people yelled at me online, so I hid. But like, IGN promotes a game that no one's ever heard of, and all of a sudden people are talking about it. Did this game Horses really have any legs before this, or did they just shine a spotlight on it because maybe they paid IGN and IGN's like, all right, let's put this up there and make them the news? And it got me thinking, like, is this marketing or is this real?
That is a great question. I know where you're going with this. So legit, like when I brought this up to the mind game team internally, they were like, "This game had no traction until now, like literally until now." So your hypothesis is spot on in that no one would have known this game existed or was banned had people not glommed onto the story of them getting banned and the story of this developer quote unquote not knowing what the Steam guidelines were, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, they created their own attention vortex that otherwise would not have existed. This game would have come and gone in the dustbin of nobody cares in the sky, right? It would have gotten banned. No one would have said much about it had it not gotten the extra scrutiny of attention on it. And so I completely agree with that. And the data on our end very back up. I think they had like less than like 2,000 search queries on this game, like just an example or something, like ridiculously low number prior to all the hoopla around it, and it
Yeah.
definitely climbed. And so it is a thing, but it wouldn't have been a thing had it not been a thing. Let's just say that, right? So that's one. And then like the larger story of like, oh, but Steam, and I think people are just ready to like be mad at the platforms. To me, that's like the larger story here. Like people are clearly upset with platforms generally, including Steam, and for a variety of reasons, but ultimately gatekeeping, things. And here is like my splash of water on this. Like, look, if you want to release a game and you wanted to do it outside the platform system, you can. It's called the internet. Put it on a browser, run it in the cloud, have people drive traffic to your website and they can play whatever you want to play, right? The internet is an infinite web of infinite things that can be infinite amount of content, including games. So you don't need Steam to put a game out there. You need Steam because they have the audience built into it who are there to play games. So now you're accepting the rules of a platform. They have it's their platform, and people are like this. They've built it up via curation, via safety, via et cetera, et cetera. That's why platforms exist, including the iOS store. And because of that, you have to some extent, abide by the rules they set forth. And if you don't like the rules, then you have the infinite internet to put your content on, and they can live there and probably find no audience and die, right? But that's just how it is, right? Now to be fair to horses, they claim they changed the things they're supposed to change. I don't know if that's true or not true, but I would not have been interested in this. And like think like the genre they quote unquote we're operating in is horror. And I think horror does push boundaries on stuff like that all the time. It's just kind of the nature of horror. They want to be more gross, they want to be more shocking, and naturally you're going to end up in some weird spots. So I get that too, right? Like there's a little bit more creativity there, but again, I go back to the rules of platform. Platforms are platforms, right? And they're going to do what they're going to do, and they don't owe the public anything. They're not a park. They're not a government run shop. They are operate like they're not they're private businesses at the end of the day, the case of Steam, and they can do what they do or don't do what they don't want to do. Ultimately, like my general perspective. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I just think that's just the naked truth of the situation. And you can put your content elsewhere. It's like reminds me a lot with Google. Like newspapers used to get really mad at Google for quote unquote taking their news and like it's like great, then don't put the Google tags on your website. I'm like, well, we can't do that because now are people going to find us? Like, well, yeah, that's the nature of an aggregator in that case. Right? They've culminated information, but you can just take the Google tags off your website and not play their game. Um,
You
it's not.
can, right? It's just, you're up against this monopoly here. And it's not a monopoly Steam, but it is. It is. I mean, you don't have to go there. Um,
Now, if you want to make a game with an audience, it would be silly not to, but it's not your right as a game developer to have to put your game on Steam per se. Like it again, I'm making people mad, but it's a suck sandwich, but that's just how the rules of the game are written right now, and to some extent you have to abide by the rules. And I could feel sympathy that you wish they weren't so opaque in their decision making, but like at the end of the day, they're gonna the one strike you're out sort of thing. I mean, they're a team of like famously like no people. The revenue per employee at Valve is like millions of dollars, and so they don't have the infrastructure of people watching pretty bad content like Meta did back in the 2010s. I remember where they were just like watching not safe content to decide if it's good or not good, right? Like that's not a job that anyone wants. And so the one strike thing makes a lot of sense. Like one strike, you're out. I get it because they're low staff relative to the size and importance that they are.
Yeah, but you owe it to the people that are putting content on your platform to have a system in there that puts you in an advisable spot to grow. I work with a couple studios that are trying to go live on Steam right now, and they've been running into tons of issues. Like going live on Steam is not an easy thing, right? And reaching out to Steam for customer support is not an easy thing, right? And if you're going to be the world's biggest platform, and yeah, you don't owe it to anyone, but you're pro gamers, right? Give these developers an easy chance. I mean, especially most of them aren't marketers. They're just trying to get
Yeah.
their crap out there.
Well, that I can agree with. Like, I mean, the bias of platforms and discovery is something we've talked about, but like Steam, we like to talk about big games are on Steam, but if you go on Steam on any given moment and any given day, it's two games. It's Dota and CS:GO. They're the number one, number two game, biggest game on Steam. They're all the ones owned by Valve. And whenever Deadlock comes out in full release, I'm sure that'll be 1, 2, 3. And if Half-Life 3 with a live service element comes out, that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So it's just know that platforms are incentivized to promote their own stuff, their own wares.
Yep.
That's just the game they play, right? And you do your best to operate around that.
You gotta always look out for yourself, no matter what you're doing in this world. You're number one.
hmm
Uh,
So yeah, I um apparently I'm getting real-time updates from my team. They said the Humble rescinded the ban of horses. So horses is now going to be on Humble. So it
all
is
right, let's
the
go. I tried to play it
it's
on Itch yesterday, and I couldn't even find it on Itch. I'm like, this is not
and that
available on Humble.
developers gonna make more money if they can get unbanned across the platforms than they ever would have if they just released their game. Like I think this attention is even in the form of controversy is a magnet of of
Yeah.
people that are more likely going to play your game. Like that's our framing of my game. It's like, yeah, you need to get attention. Not all of it's going to be warm and fuzzy attention. Sometimes it's gross and icky, but attention's attention. And if you can capture that and monetize it,
I
yep,
feel like it's not okay, but like, who do
it's
you yell at?
icky.
You can't yell at IGN, but maybe you can yell at IGN. Like IGN, if they're a company again, they're going to make money, right? If some developers can say, "Hey, here's a stupid amount of money. Talk about my game and what's not right about it," like, okay, like I'll give you my honest opinion on the game, especially if it's a dumb, stupid game. I'm not saying horses is,
I
but
wouldn't even think it. I don't even think it's that. They writing about it. How much traffic do you think IGN got from people reading about horses and like they're monetizing on ads and their shop experience, etc. around the Christmas time? Like I'm sure they did pretty fine on that. And I think it's an ROI positive thing, and that's the icky part of their game, right?
come on, developers, reach out to
Oh.
me. I'll peddle shit.
All right, we got to pivot to something cheerier. It's the holidays. Can we talk
Yes,
about the Christmas movies? I know it
yes,
was on a.
it's Christmas movie season, and you released your mind share for Nightmare Before Christmas.
I did. People are mad at me about this take. I knew that was in it. It's a Christmas movie. More so than Die Hard. I know that people love talking about Die Hard as a Christmas
Hmm.
movie. This is actually a Christmas movie. It's a Christmas movie. Characters are finding the meaning of Christmas. Die Hard is a movie that takes place during Christmas. So let's put
Nah,
that out there.
Nightmare Before Christmas is my transition movie between Halloween and
Why? Because they're
Thanksgiving.
Halloween characters.
It's
Uh,
yeah. I mean, I've seen the movie like 3 times in my life, so yeah.
Jack Skellington's a skeleton who's bored with his life of celebrating only Halloween, yearns for another holiday, stumbles on Christmas,
Yeah, it's
misunderstands the meaning of Christmas because he thinks it's about him because he's a narcissist. Jack Skellington, a narcissist. Um, kind of wants to become Santa Claus, only to realize once he's failed at being Santa Claus that the meaning of Christmas is not indeed himself, it's the people around him. Thus, they save Santa from Oogie Boogie. The town gets to experience Christmas and the spirit of Christmas, which is just snow falling, them being together in their weird Halloween town, and Santa flies off to save, to kind of execute the full Christmas experience. That is the story. So it is about
transition
the
movie.
meaning. It's about the meaning of Christmas. Just takes place with Halloween characters.
Is that
That's
your
and
number one Christmas movie?
um I know pound for pound, yeah. A modern. I would say modern. I'm gonna put a big asterisk starting in the 90s. Like I don't want to go
Okay.
further back in time
Yeah, no, it
to,
doesn't count. No.
older films and like argue about like The Miracle on 34th Street, the original one, or It's a Wonderful Life, which is a very depressing movie. People, I don't know if that's a Christmas movie. That's a sad movie, like and a depressing movie. But whatever. So like I will bypass the classics and kind of go to modern. Yeah, I mean it's Home Alone, it's
Home
Elf,
Alone.
which Elf to me is an arguable one. Like I will hear the arguments for Elf and say you're probably right on the live action side. I don't know if there's a better live action Christmas movie in the last 30 years than Elf. So fair point. But that would be the short list: Home Alone, Elf, Nightmare Before Christmas, and sorry, but Die Hard, 80s movie. But I'll pull it in the 90s. Not a Christmas movie. It's a Christmas adjacent movie because it just takes. It's like saying Iron Man 3 is a Christmas movie. Why? Because Iron Man is experiencing trauma during the Christmas season. Like, come on. Like,
Come on.
is Hawkeye a Christmas show on and Disney Plus because he's
Don't
fighting
do this.
crime during Christmas?
Don't do this to Bruce Willis now. He's not in the right mind state to argue this. It's a Christmas.
What's your favorite Christmas movie? What would you put on there?
Probably would say Elf, but other ones that are definitely in the showing. We've recently fell in love with Jingle All the Way, an annual tradition. Just love that. Love Arnold. I also
That's a good one.
like Home Alone. I think that's a classic. Um, yeah, I think. I mean, old school. We always watch Rudolph. My kids want to watch Rudolph tonight, but they've been little shits, so I don't know if I want them to be able to watch anything during dinner tonight. But Rudolph is on the agenda for tonight. Those movies are kind of old now. Did you see there's a Rudolph game coming out or a Frosty game coming out?
No, that's funny. That's funny. That's
Yeah, it
the
looks
thing I grew up on, and that's what inspired Nightmare. It was the classic throwback um clay animation style Christmas movie is what Tim Burton and
yeah.
Stella kind of built Nightmare on. Let me make a case on Nightmare a little bit more. Go to Disneyland or World during the holidays between September to the end of the year. The longest line you will see is for Haunted Mansion that is done up like Christmas, visited by the residents of Halloween Town. Great ride experience, thumbs up there. But that's just physical media. just look at the digital. I think Nightmare Before Christmas on Disney Plus not only trends in October, it trends in November and December as a top 5 movie on the platform. So it is seen by a lot of people as a Christmas and a Halloween movie, which is why it's a goat because it claims 2 holidays. And sorry, Thanksgiving, you've been pushed aside. You're a holiday for like a minute and then you're not, but
Best
Halloween
food
and
all year. No
Christmas
hate.
just kind of pinched you
No.
in the middle, and that is best kind of shown by Nightmare. And then I do like Elf a lot. That's a really good one.
Santa
And shout
Claus.
out
I
to
didn't
Elf.
say the Santa Claus, but Santa Claus might be my top three.
My kids really like Red One, the Rock movie, with Captain America, where he is saving Buff Santa, played by gosh, I forget the actor's name, but
Yeah, not Brolin. No, it's
no, it's
older
the
guy,
guy
isn't
that
it?
J.J. Jameson in the Spider-Man
Oh, the
movies.
piano guy. Yeah.
Yeah, the Whiplash guy, right? He's Whiplash, right?
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons playing Santa, like Buff Santa. Yeah, they love that movie because it's an action movie with it's a rock movie that takes place during Christmas, and he's comically an elf, I guess, or something akin to an elf. I don't know, but like Captain America's in it. It's a buddy cop movie. They fight the German Santa Claus as Santa Claus. I think it's like,
Mm.
anyways,
Yeah, I see
solid
that.
movie. My kids love it.
Krampus.
Krampus, that's right, it's Krampus. Yes,
There's a
Krampus is in
horror
the
movie
movie.
called Krampus.
Yeah, Krampus is ruling over Christmas hell in that movie. It's they like it, so
Is
that
it
that
good?
that
Is it good
makes
for adults? Should we watch that?
it's fine. It's
Okay.
I find that Christmas movies are they're mostly terrible. Like 99% of them are awful. And then of the 1%, most of the 98% of the 1% are just fine. Like they're bearable. You can sit through beginning, middle, and end and be like, okay, didn't hate this, but I would never necessarily go out of my way to watch it. And like to me, it's like on the border of that. And then there's that's a really good movie. I actually enjoyed that movie. That's kind of where like to me, like where we can meet in the middle. Elf kind of falls into that. Like that's a legitimately a good family movie. It's like, yeah, it's great. Classic today, even though the outfits are incredibly dated in Elf, you're watching people wear like box suits and you're like, what are they wearing?
Hmm.
um, but it's Will Ferrell at his best playing just a goofy adult. And yeah, again with a throwback to the claymation stuff at the beginning where he's leaving the North Pole and he sees all the claymation characters there. So shout out to my childhood, I guess, with the Rudolph movies. Yeah. So those are mine. And then Home Alone. Home Alone's great, but I think Kevin's an evil person. Like I kind of can't watch that movie and I'm like, is the Wet Bandits the bad guys? Like, I mean, he really goes out of his way to torture
Real
them.
hard, right? You see some of these pranks, like the bowling ball from the ceiling. Like, yeah, this kills a dude. Like, I don't know how he's getting back up and still going, but you're dead.
I mean, he tricks them to home invade him. He could have gotten out of that. He could have gone to the police and said, "I'm home alone, and these people are going to home invade me." But no, he invites them to effectively Dante's Inferno and scars them for life, only for them to live through a worse experience in New York in the sequel, which is not as good as the original.
No, we actually just watched the sequel last week, and still a good movie though. Good love letter to New York I've seen.
Yeah, yeah, but like my kids are scared when like he gets shocked with like they're like he's like I think they think he's trying to kill him at that point. I'm like, yeah, I mean
He might be.
the frozen ice on the stairway is innocent, but putting like a blowtorch and like power lines and then like kind of walking into them and then like throwing like a lead pipe that's for like sewage basically like at their heads like yeah he's
Not okay.
crossed the line. Kevin's crossed the line here, man.
So
Yeah, man, that's the holidays right there for me.
before we wrap for the week, let's know what game are you playing this week?
I am still playing Dispatch. I am on my way through chapter 4, so I will be playing Dispatch probably between now and the holidays, and then I'm waiting to see if Metroid Prime is good. That's my like I have my feelers out there with people. I will not personally play it until I get wind from people that play these games if it's good or not. So I'm waiting to hear about Metroid Prime.
Looks
I'm
mixed.
not I'm very pessimistic on that one. That might be Nintendo's like, nah, they need to go back to
C
the drawing
tier.
board. Yeah, I feel bad for Metroid Samus, but yeah, I just it's a cool character. I just can't figure out the game.
No. All right. I am playing latest season of Fortnite. I suck, but I'm trying to talk my friends out of never playing it again. And I think I'm making progress. One of them's into Battlefield with me now, so I have a couple Battlefield friends. We're actually slowly creating a squad. But this week I am excited about Cosmic Invasion. I am
Ooh,
excited to get
yeah, beat him up. I love that.
I
That's
know,
awesome, man.
again, my son's been such a mean kid recently, and I don't want him to play the Xbox, but it's the game I want to play with him so bad because we go to the arcade and we play X-Men there. I'm just like, oh, why do you have to be such a dick? But he's a kid,
I
so
actually might buy that for my kid. He's playing Lego Star Wars, and I'm getting really bored of that game. So I might sneak in some Marvel or some
let me tell you,
Invasion.
in case you're thinking about your winners and losers for the year, it's free on a service called Microsoft Game Pass. So if you want to save yourself $30 and just spend 180 or something, you can get yourself a free version of Cosmic Invasion while you're still a paying subscriber.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's so
We,
funny.
we will lead that into next week if you're going to join us. Maybe next week, maybe 2 weeks. We will be doing our top three winners and losers of the
Yeah,
year.
I'll have
And
that down. I already know two of them. I just gotta think of the third one. Two
he needs to
strong
rethink
opinions.
now because if he realized Cosmic Invasion's free on Xbox, he's like, oh,
I will say Xbox is making my list. Won't tell you which side though. And on that, I appreciate having me on, Greg.
of course.
And thank you all for listening. Colin Neese, Mind Game Data, and Screen Engine ASI. You can find me on LinkedIn, where I write and comment on the gaming industry, and from time to time make Christmas movie lists.
Don't actually leave if you got 2 minutes. I'm going to end this, but I'm Greg, Player Driven. Check us out, playerdriven.io, and have a good week.